Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad here this Friday morning, 1 week away from Christmas Day. So we're all excited and jumping up and down. And you know what? We're going to keep working till Christmas Eve morning. Christmas Eve morning, we'll have a great show, giving away hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of stuff here on Panhandle Outdoors. So stay tuned. I'll be telling you more about it. High today, 58, low 38, water temperature 65. That's seasonal this time of year. River reading is brought to us by Mountain Dew. Get out and do. Looking at Apalachicola, Brunstown, a 7.5. Not much movement right there. Staying pretty level for your weekend outing. The Choctaw at Carrollville, you're looking at 5.6, and I'm expecting it to rise a little bit. It's not going much high as I thought it was, but it's going to be rising some. Tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Well, some great tides today, folks. Next week's neap tides, but today, really good tides. Lows at 9:59. Let's just say 10 o'clock this morning. And highs coming in about 11:15 tonight. Some great incoming tide. The wind has calmed down. We're just going to get a small east-northeast wind at about 5. I want to do a quick weather because we've got a guest here. But some information here is just going to be great for the outdoorsmen. So let's take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back, and look who's here again this morning, Steve Shea.
Winston, good to see you again.
It's great to have you. I asked Steve to come back because we're going to do something really special to end the season. This 2020 year, we're going to give you a clinic on deer hunting, and Steve is an expert. He don't like to be called that, but now I've known a lot of hunters and all, and there's some great hunters here in Panhandle. But anyway, without further ado, how much of an expert? I asked him to go in and do a slide presentation. Mr. Professional, this is nice. Now, he really put this together. So, Steve, your qualifications, you didn't. I know you're a great outdoorsman naturally, but you also have some background in it. You learned a lot.
Yeah, well, I know you call me an expert, Winston, but there's a lot of good deer biologists across the United States and in Florida. But I do have quite a bit of experience. I've been a certified wildlife biologist now and conducting work on deer for 35 years in several different positions that I've had with government and non-government. The big thing is because I'm a hunter, the things I know about deer, I'm constantly applying that in the field and trying to figure things out where a lot of people either scientist or hunter, but to have both, I think it gives me a little bit of an advantage. But I'm actively involved in QDMA, which is a National Deer Association now. But also chairman of the Southeast Deer Study Group, vice chairman of the Southeast Deer Partnership, work cooperatively with those organizations. But I've done a lot of research and management in Florida. Right now, with my private consulting business, I manage about 200,000 acres of private lands all across the Southeast and Midwest. So.
Well, that speaks volumes when people have 200,000 acres and they want you to manage it. That really speaks volumes. So the QDMA, Southeast Deer Partnership, all these big organizations, you're part of that.
Yeah. It's funny is I got my training in Florida. I went to school at my master's University of Georgia, but I actually lived out on St. Vincent Island.
Let's talk about that. And folks, we talk about he lived on St. Vincent Island, and we talked about this last time. You had a unique. How long were you there? How long?
I lived on the island for a year and a half.
So you're a student at the University of Georgia, but you get to live on St. Vincent Island. That's great. Yeah, you had a unique experience one day.
Yeah, I sure did.
It involved Red Holland, our late Red Holland.
Yeah,
so tell us.
Red just recently passed away, but when I'm insulin-dependent diabetic, and back in those days, this was in 1984 or 85, had a severe insulin shock on the island, and I was unconscious. There was only one other student out there and couldn't do anything with me and couldn't lift me to get me off the island. And Red happened to be out there filming a show that day. They had the ponds on the island with the hand-painted brim, and so they were filming a show. And at the time, he had this big cameraman. And, they stopped by the house, and the other students said, I got my partner's is unconscious. And I guess the cameraman picked me up over his shoulders. They threw me in the truck, drove me across the island, got me on a boat, got me to the mainland and the hospital, and actually saved my life.
Wow.
And if Red wasn't there that day filming, who knows, I wouldn't be having this show here with you today.
Wow.
So God bless Red, and I know he's up there in heaven watching over us again, but he definitely watched over me that day. So.
That's something. That's an amazing story. You told me that the other day, and I couldn't believe you lived on an island a year and a half, because it'd be a dream come true. And then for that to happen, and for them to be there, and that cameraman big enough to pick you up and just take you. So
God sent him to St. Vincent that day for my benefit.
No doubt in my mind. And with Whitney, when he said top one, our witness top one, I know where you're coming from, and you can get in that situation, you can get in really serious trouble, and to be on the island. So that's a great story there. All right, so let's move on. What do you got next here?
Well, you talk about being a hunter. I got a lot of experience hunting.
This is great pictures.
Yeah, but these are just some of the bucks. But I probably killed, I think, 16 or 17 bucks over 130 and about a dozen over 150. My biggest is in the 170s, but the thing is, you got to kill big bucks. You got to hunt where they're at. So I'm lucky enough to be able to do that. But I've killed them 150 in Florida too. So we're going to talk a lot about deer management and some of the things you can do to improve your chances of killing a buck like that. So.
When I asked Steve to come on, I said, I want you to tell. I know you don't want to talk about. I want you to tell about your background and also, show some of the big bucks you've taken and all, just to give some credence to it, as if you need some. But anyway, I also asked him to talk about the deer itself, about the senses of the deer, and how, as a wildlife biologist, what he's learned, and over the years what you learned. So,
yeah, the big thing is overcoming the deer senses. It's sight, hearing, and his olfactory or sense of smell. And if you think about sight, I'm not going to go in any particular order because their olfactory scent is the best. But deer can see about 5 times better than we can. And they see the yellows and blue wavelengths a lot better, but they can't see the reds and the greens. So like a lot of people think about hunter orange, it's in that red wavelength. Deer see that as black, so it's not a big thing. But the biggest asset to deer's vision is their really acute sense of detecting movement. I think you could be wearing whatever color, it doesn't really matter. But as long as you're still and minimize that movement while the deer can see you, that's half the battle right there. Their peripheral vision is unbelievable. I mean, they can see actually somewhat behind them, like 250 degrees. But that's horizontal, peripheral vision. They don't have a lot up and down. So up in the tree, they're less acute high. So you see, if you're at a stand, deer has to look up to see you. He can't see you, but from side to side, they can sense that quickly.
Okay, so that sight's pretty strong.
Sight's really strong.
Okay.
Now, hearing is probably their weakest. They hear very similar to us as far as what frequencies they can hear. The big thing is those ears. Those ears gather a lot more sound, and they can pan them in different directions, so they can pinpoint the source of the noise a lot better than we can. But as far as wavelengths, pretty similar to us.
Let me ask you this real quick. Does the hearing, sort of like humans, as they get older, do you think the hearing goes down? Been any tests done on that? Has it gotten older? I just wondered.
I'm not sure about that, but I imagine, I think that deer die from lead poisoning before they start to decline in their senses. So I don't think that's a big issue in survival in most instances.
Okay, smell is next. Before we get to smell, let's take a break and we'll come back in just 2 minutes. Okay, welcome back. Sitting here with wildlife biologist Steve Shea. He's been nice enough to come on the show. Studio B's not that far from your house.
No, it takes me 5 minutes to get here.
He's in the condo, the Southport condo, and we're close to that. So thank you for coming over this early. And we're doing a clinic. We're ending the year on a clinic of actual how to hunt deer. So here we go.
All right, last we left off on sense of smell. Well, that's the master sense for white-tailed deer. They can actually smell 500 to 1,000 times better than we can, which is unbelievable. They can detect, and this is all the stuff, the research at Mississippi State University, University of Georgia have studied the senses of deer extensively. They found that they can actually detect a human scent up to half a mile away if the conditions are right.
Holy, that's just
and I know, it's unbelievable. And they can actually, we think about cover scents and things like that, which I'm not an advocate of, but they can process 6 different scents at a time. So they can differentiate between 6 different scents. If you walk in a room, you can smell one thing with us. Well, they can tell if there's 6 different things they can smell.
Like I smell like bacon cooking, that's all I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
But they can do all kinds of things too.
But it's so interesting, whitetails, and you hunters know, you see deer, they use their senses together collaboratively to make a decision. Usually it takes 2 senses to affirm an action for them to bolt on you. And you see if a deer sees movement, they're looking, they're trying to do everything, stomping, blowing, trying to get you to move, because it's that movement that they key on. And so you'll see them do that all the time. Or what they'll do is they'll try to circle downwind of you. Okay, so once they confirm two senses, they're gone. But the sense of smell, that only takes one. If they wind you, they're going to ease away. They can tell too how far that scent is away. I mean, so they say, I know that guy. He's a few hundred yards away, so they'll just circle around you. And so and we're going to talk a little bit how to combat the keen senses of deer.
Okay, great.
So from a hunting strategy, what do you do for like sight? To me, the biggest thing is camo is not the biggest factor, but camo helps. But limitation of movements is key. And so that's what you want to do on sight. And to me, hunt from an elevated position. I mean, because remember, deer's peripheral vision is horizontally, not up and down vertically. So, hunting, you have a much better advantage if you're up high rather than ground level. And the big thing, and I tell this people all the time, is when you're hunting out a fixed position stand, optimal times of the morning and the afternoon, especially bow hunting, I'm standing up the whole time. I'm not sitting down. Because when you sit, all of a sudden the deer, you've seen this, Winston, all of a sudden they're there. Well, you have to stand up, get in position, so all that movement, which is going to draw attention to yourself. And so if you're standing, you can move easily, and be able to make kill shots. And even the guys I hunt with, I'm not just bragging, but I'm more successful than they are. And I talk to them and say, guys, you need to stand up during the last 2 hours or first 2 hours in the morning. I said, I've killed more deer because I did that, and it's crazy. It's crazy to think about.
I want to interject this. That big buck I didn't get to shoot at up there in northeast Georgia, which was about a month ago, right before Thanksgiving. I'm convinced that he saw my movement. Now, I'm in a ground blind, which I normally don't hunt before, looking at all your research and all, and then I was thinking while you were talking, because I just moved just a little bit, but that's all it takes.
Yep.
And I'm sure he saw me.
And then, hearing is similar. Use soft camos, dampen anything, metal objects on your stand or your gun. So it's those things up close, especially when you're closing the deal on taking a shot, and then the deer's in close proximity. They're going to detect that sense of hearing. You guys have seen it, like even calling to deer. We do a lot of calling in the Midwest. You can tell how far that deer can hear a grunt or rattle, and it's different depending on the wind and the direction and all that. So you have to kind of tune in on that. But the big thing is go through scenarios. When I'm in a stand, I'll go through all the process. If the deer's here, I'll actually draw a bow, or if it's a rifle. And when you go through those process, when there's no deer around, you'll find, oh, I bumped my gun here. Oh, this squeaks.
Yes.
Go through those scenarios, and it's basically can save you, costing you when it comes down to closing deal.
That's a great point. Practice if he walks here, if he walks there. I do that.
That's a really important thing to do. Yeah. And then, sense of smell, that's their biggest, threat to you killing them, is always hunt, downwind from the target area. And the thing is about wind, I found is the wind direction is more important than the speed. I find I'm more successful on a moderate to heavy wind, and usually in those times, it stays the same direction most of the time. The worst is no wind. When it's no wind, that your scent basically can drift everywhere, and so you're at a disadvantage. The one time no wind may be good is if you're hunting areas that have a lot of topography, like in the Midwest. The thermals will take it up. If there's no wind, it goes more direct up. If there's wind, it takes it down, so the deer are going to scent you. So, but I don't like a calm day. Oh, those are the worst. I like a good steady wind.
What about the morning versus late evening? Does that matter to you?
Well, in the morning is the thermals will be bringing your scent up.
Okay.
In the afternoon, so in the afternoon to me you're more at a disadvantage because your scent, the temperatures are dropping, the thermals are taking your scent down. Okay. So it's harder in the afternoon from a scent standpoint. So. But we want to talk a little bit about habitat.
Yeah, Florida, here in Florida. So I like your slide. We're cursed and blessed. So I like that.
Yeah, and I'm talking this as a deer manager and hunter, being both. Florida is the most difficult state in the country, really, to manage deer. In some ways. In other ways, it's the easiest. And it's worse from a hunter standpoint. We have relatively low quality habitat. So we have small deer with small antlers. And then the deer densities tend to be lower, and they grow at a slower rate because recruitment is low because the habitat quality is bad. So so we're cursed in that standpoint. But then we're blessed because of those same issues. I mean, most states in the country are having problems killing enough deer and overpopulation and crop depredation. Well, in Florida, we don't have those problems because populations grow slow. So we don't have overpopulation levels in most areas. Some areas do, but the habitat damage is reduced because the populations are high. And then you don't have the crop damage and depredation that you do in other places in the country. So.
Okay. All right, we're going to get ready to take a break. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. I know you thought I forgot about drawing, but we're going to draw for the seafood after we take this break, and we'll come right back with Steve. Welcome back. Glad you're with us. We've got a lot to get in this last 7 minutes. Let's look at fishing game times. Brought to us by Blue Ward Outriggers this morning, 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. This afternoon, 2:33 to 4:33. Okay, we're going to draw real quick. Los Angeles $25 gift card. Steve do the drawing. Who's our winner? We got Michelle Wilcox, the Phoenix Springs. Okay, the $20 gift certificate, the Carpenter Dock Seafood. It's going to be Gary Taylor from Greg Taylor. We're going to draw again. Greg don't need that. No, I'm teasing. Last one, Red Snapper.
I know Greg. He's going to think I was in on this.
Okay. Okay. And that's going to be from all the way from Santa Rosa Beach, Dennis Borges. Okay, that's our winners. And we're going to give away a lot of stuff on Christmas Eve. All right, let's get back to, let's try to get us all in. If we don't get it in, we'll just finish up again.
Okay, yeah,
here we go.
And one hard thing about Florida, too, it has the most diverse breeding chronology of any place in the world. I mean, down in South Florida, deer breed in late summer, and then they're breeding in late winter. So from July, the earliest breeding in Florida, to February in the northwest portion of the state. So it's hard for wildlife managers to set seasons so it overlaps when the deer are in hard antler. So that's another complication. And in our part of Florida, because those bucks are born so late, they're only that 90% of all our yearling bucks have spikes. And research has shown it takes 3 years for them to catch up. So a deer that's born early in South Florida, the antlers on the same habitats, it'll take that deer 3 years old before they're comparable at that age. Okay. So it just shows the impact of late birth.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk about how to use all this stuff to grow bigger bucks.
Okay, I mean, here's what we do.
And you know, the big thing is there's 3 major things that dictate what a deer's antler is going to be. Okay, age, their nutrition, and genetics. And how can we overcome those things or influence those things to kill bigger bucks? And harvest management is the way you affect age. Is you know that half-inch trigger pull. So one, in Florida, because we have poor quality habitats, we want to have conservative harvests, but we want to have adequate harvests of antlerless deer. So you got to kill enough does, but tend to kill a lot less than you do in other parts of the country. And then you want to protect your button bucks, your young bucks, and your middle-aged bucks, so you have that older age class, and so those deer can express their genetic potential for their antlers. And then so you want to be able to target those management bucks and shooter bucks. On all the places I hunt, that's the only thing we harvest. And so that harvest management is the most important thing that you can do and have more control over as a hunter. Camera surveys are really important. It provides the foundation of your harvest management, so you want to do those if you can do them. Anyone can call me anytime. I can help them so they can do them themselves.
You number yours. I see you got numbers on your screen.
Oh yeah. So there's a certain way you do that, but it tells you everything you need to know about managing your herd. Habitat management is another thing that we control. You want to protect your hard and soft mass tree species because that provides valuable food for the deer. Timber thinning is really important, even though we don't have a lot of control over that. That provides a diversity of ground cover, forage species for deer in the quality. Prescribed fire is really important, and landowners that can do that, that's critical for deer management. Planting warm and cool season plots. A lot of us just plant plots in the fall to put them in front of the gun, but the biggest impact on antlers is those that you plant in the summertime, spring and summer. So don't forget about that. And then supplemental feeding is important as well. I've seen places that have made unbelievable differences using supplemental feeding because it's crazy how much you can grow the antlers if you do it on a sustained basis. Cool. And then genetics. Genetics is the one I tell everybody not to worry about. I mean, we harvest management bucks, but really harvested management bucks doesn't have a big impact on free-ranging populations, but it does over time. It has been shown to be able to have some influence. But really, genetics, you got what you got, and manage your age and your nutrition, and then be happy with that. So. Okay. But then, there's other things too, Winston, is that we don't have as much control over, lost my slide here, is predation, diseases, and feral hogs. A lot of, like Miley, we've got a lot of feral hogs. Well, they compete with whitetails, especially for the mast, and a lot of some of the ground cover species as well. So controlling your hog populations is important. Predation, coyotes, research has shown that they have huge impacts in the southeast on fawn survival. So getting on a program of predator control. And then, diseases. EHD is one that can wipe out your population. It's very common in the southeast. There's not much we can do about that. But chronic wasting disease is the big threat. And I tell you what, I'm really proud of the FWC and the measures that they have taken to help protect us. CWD, the biggest protector we have is our geography. I mean, we're surrounded by water. So deer, immigration can't happen on most of our borders. Just Georgia and Alabama, which also is doing a good job there. But the state ended the importation of cervids, about 5-6 years ago. That was huge, and there's existing regs that are going through now to help protect the state of Florida.
Okay, we've got about a minute left. You still have a picture of that big buck you got in Gulf County? Where is that on here? I wanted. We talk about management deer and all, and this buck right here.
Yeah. So this deer, and sometimes the stars got to align to kill a big buck. He was probably born pretty early, And
he was right there in Gulf County, folks, close to the river down there, and it wasn't on he was just on the lease. I mean, it wasn't on no fenced area.
No.
I remember that story. What a great story. Okay, well, I think we got through most of it, didn't we?
We got through most of it. Yeah. Fast. I had to talk fast.
we still have more stuff to talk about. I love having Steve coming on, and it means a lot to us, and all this information. Some things we can control, and some we can't. But the more knowledge we have, the better outdoorsmen we're going to be. But protecting our outdoors is important. And then we didn't talk about donating our deer meat and all. Mention that real quick, about 30 seconds.
Hunters for the Hungry, the Deer Shack, Cody Barron's, they're taking deer. We have a good fund we fundraised a bunch this year. So any deer or hog you bring by, just say you'd like to donate it for Hunters for the Hungry. We pay for all the processing, and all the deer meat is sent to Christian Ministry food banks here in Bay County.
That is awesome, and the outdoorsmen can help out on that. So Steve, thanks,
great.
buddy. Great show.
All right, appreciate it,
you coming on, man. Y'all have a great weekend. Y'all do some stuff in the outdoors and enjoy the outdoors this weekend. You got some big plans?
Yeah, I'm taking my grandson hog hunting tomorrow afternoon.
All right.
So.
Have a great weekend. Do something good for your fellow man, and God bless.
God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.